Welcome to the Leverage Living Podcast. We're doing a weekly update today. So we're living every night like it's a Friday and every morning like it's a Monday. How you doing today, Ryan?
I'm doing well. Locked and loaded.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So on last week's episode, obviously we interviewed Mike Sather. If you guys haven't seen that one yet, go back and take a watch, take a listen, write some notes. That thing was, that was a very good episode. There's a lot of great takeaways from that. What'd you think about it?
Yeah, I thought, well, first, just to have the most valuable thing is people's time. So to have Mike volunteer his time to be a part of our project and to share some of his knowledge and his learning over the years with our, well, we joked about the viewer count in the beginning, but it was over 2,000 views we've had on that so far. So
yeah, it's pretty solid, and it was fun to do.
Yeah, it was really fun. That was our first interview. Learned a few things, but no, Mike is a tremendous interview candidate, wealth of knowledge, and we're really thankful he joined us.
Definitely. If you guys haven't seen that yet, like I said, go back and listen to it. It's well worth your time.
Yep.
So Ryan, what are you drinking today? Let's hear about it.
So let me, this is actually one of my favorite wines. So
wine.
I'll show you the bottle. It's a little hard, lighting's important in the video world. So it's a Markham Merlot. It's
okay.
It's from a little place called Napa, not to be confused with Aspen.
California, beautiful.
Yeah, so this is a phenomenal Merlot. It's, like I said, it's one of the favorites of mine and my wife. So I'll give it a taste and give you a little review. One thing you'll notice, see the halo on the glass? I've been going back and forth in my mind. Is it the ring light or is this angelic wine? I don't know. Solid case could be had for either.
Give it a twirl and a taste, and let's see what you think.
Well, wow. I already decanted it for 30 minutes before we got started, and
that's impressive.
Sometimes great drinks elicit great memories, and I just think of the first time when I was 9 years old, standing at the edge of that diving board, and just the adrenaline you have, and that's what this wine gives you. So, it's not really pretentious. I would call it a showstopper, though. And, you don't hear that a lot for fine wines. So just a lovely balance of candied cherry and dark chocolate notes, and just a really smooth finish, wonderful tannin structure. So Markham Merlot, one of my favorites.
So I'm not a huge wine connoisseur, but I hear cheese goes well with wine. Do you have any cheese with you?
Well, of course. Who would film
you actually
great wine without cheese and crackers?
Nice. Is it Cheese Whiz or what is that? It looks like Cheese Whiz.
If we would have started this podcast maybe 8 years ago, it would have probably been chicken and the biscuit, Cheese Whiz, and Franzia. But leverage has been okay to me. So we can go to the cheese section and find something that's not made in a lab.
I love it. So
yeah.
One ingredient away from plastic.
It is. Yeah. And that's always a really good criteria when you're evaluating your cheeses. So maybe on the next episode, I could do a cheese review. I've been told I have one of the best cheese palates in the Midwest. So I would love to share that knowledge with you.
I'd love to hear about it. Cause like I said, I'm not a venture capitalist when it comes to cheese. I don't diversify my portfolio that often when it comes to that. I swing with the pepper jack, single slices.
Those are good too.
Oh yeah, you got it.
One thing about cheese, since we're on the topic, they put actually like a potato starch dust on the cheese slices, the ones you're eating. You're probably buying them from Target. The purpose to that is so that cheese doesn't stick together. Oh. So if you think of, when you put baby powder or something on something, it won't stick.
Yep.
But it does subtract from the flavor of your cheese. So once you up your game a little bit and you get away from those single slices,
yep,
your palate will thank you.
That's interesting.
You learn.
I think that's probably enough about cheese.
Yeah, let's hear about what you're drinking.
We can do a deep dive on cheese at a different episode, I think. So me today, Jim Beam Maple. Another whiskey. You're the wine guy. I think I'm the whiskey guy, I guess. So let's give it a little taste. My first taste. It tastes like a breakfast, honestly.
Really?
Like if you went and got some pancakes and some waffles, you go to Perkins, you sit down with a nice glass of Jim Beam maple. You're
So,
eating breakfast. I think you toss a little Sunny D in here, it'd be the complete package.
sounds like a boozy brunch on ice.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Yeah, it is. Boozy brunch on ice.
Yeah, that's what I heard when you were describing it.
Sounds like a skating show. I'll go to that.
Well, maybe we should talk a little bit about investing. Why don't you give us a recap?
Oh, we should. All right. So going back to the indexes. So the update for this last week, all three of the US averages closed lower on Thursday and Friday. The NASDAQ barely fell. It fell 0.5%, nothing too crazy. Same with the S&P 500, gave up 0.2%. So there's nothing really news-wise to report on this. The Dow Jones lost 20 points or 0.07%, whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
But it had been down over 300 points early in the trading session earlier in the week. So and then
pretty flat week.
Yeah, nothing really crazy about that. And then there are three things we're watching. Earnings season is coming up again.
It's here.
Yeah, it is. The impact of COVID-19, how the election is going to affect things, and then if the winners that have been carrying us will keep carrying us forward. So the impact of COVID-19, there's been analysts that estimate reflections of increased outlook towards going forward in the future. So even with the challenges of COVID-19, there's still social distancing going on, various safety protocols in effect. The consumer behavior is shifting.
Yeah.
So we've been encouraged by recent data. Obviously, we didn't see a big decrease in the markets as we just went over.
Well, I think on the COVID front too, I mean, cases are going wild again, pretty much everywhere, which is definitely disappointing. But I think some of the data points that analysts are looking at are, if you look to the very beginning when this outbreak happened and now, we definitely have a better insight on treating the disease and hopefully shortening the hospital stays if it gets to that point, and some other preventative measures.
For sure.
So hopefully, and then, we have a lot of vaccine candidates in the pipeline too. So hopefully something can come through there as well.
What's your favorite there? I think Pfizer is having another trial later in the month.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think Pfizer, from what I've read, is probably the best positioned. There's been two other companies that I think are in stage 3, but they've had to pause their trials.
AstraZeneca.
Yeah, that was one of them. I can't remember the other one.
Was it Johnson & Johnson?
It might have been. I would have to look that up. We could probably populate it if we find it. But yeah, I think there was some concerning with any studies. If someone gets sick, you don't know if it's correlation doesn't equal causation all the time. So they have to look more into those things.
Then, yeah, the second thing was the election. As the election day approaches, we're expecting to hear more about how the policies will change and affect different companies. The most sensitive that we're looking at are energy, financial services, and then healthcare. There's probably going to be some questions about the regulatory risk for technology companies, as well as digital media and e-commerce. It's definitely going to be looked at, and it's something that we'll go forward and talk about in further episodes.
Yeah, I think
as more information comes out.
I think that's probably the primary risk that investors are looking at is a change in the regulatory environment. Regulatory is healthcare, finance, banking, technology. It's a huge area and can be very costly. And then also, typically with new presidents, we see a change in tax code. Sometimes it benefits some sectors, some people. Other times it's detrimental to others. So it could be a mixed bag, but I wanted to provide a couple data pieces here. If anyone's over worried or overly worried about the election, which certainly it might be a volatility event, and a lot of people, you have a candidate on either side of the fence, and neither Bryce and I care what side that is. But from a data perspective, over time, either Republican or Democrat actually produce incredibly similar stock market returns over the long term.
And
So
I think we'll pop up a picture right here. That's kind of a good visual about that.
Yeah, so we're apolitical, and we've talked many times about how we don't let emotions drive our investment decisions. We have data drive that. So the data tells us that no matter what administration either wins or stays in office, what's your other option too? Yeah,
exactly. And I think like psychologically, we might see a short term. Yeah, there might be some volatility there short term, just because people are freaking out. They're going to go heavy cash maybe.
Yep.
In anticipation of a changing of the office. But long term, yeah, like you said, data shows that there's no big difference.
Exactly.
All right. So the technology company breakups we think are overdone. Healthcare's had solid earnings that seem to be being underappreciated by the market in our view. We expect earnings growth only in the healthcare and technology utilities sectors this quarter, likely the low digits across the board. So we'll see what happens there. And then the winners will keep carrying us, hopefully. 54% of the market capitalization of the S&P 500 is on track to grow their earnings in 2020.
Wow.
That's, that was interesting news. We believe the chances are good that the technology sector and the digital media sector, e-commerce, internet industry altogether, will produce high earnings growth in the third quarter. So as long as those winners keep winning, and we think they will, provide solid earnings foundation for the broad market. So we might have to piggyback on those, and your Microsofts, your Apples, your FANG stocks, basically.
Yep. So. We've seen some trends accelerate in the technology e-com software space due to COVID, and I think those trends will probably keep expanding as we move forward. And I think a lot of them are going to be here to stay as people realize how things can be easier and maybe are more friendly to technology because they've had to be through the pandemic.
For sure. And Zoom's been up a lot, and that's what we're using right now, and it's working great. So
yeah.
So Ryan, do you want to, we talk a lot about SPACs. Should we touch on those a little bit? What they've been doing, some new?
Yeah, Proterra. Do you know the ticker for that one by chance?
No, it hasn't announced anything yet, but they did some pre-funding.
Yeah, they make battery systems, electric public transportation. So we see the SPACs and EVs are there's a lot of merit happening there. Yeah. So something to note, ChargePoint, which we've spoke about, Switchback Energy, they completed a private funding round just before choosing a SPAC. SPAQ also did the same, which is Fisker Motors. Mm-hmm. So being that Proterra's just raised the $200 million from private equity firms, there's speculation that SPAC might be the next choice for them.
Yeah. Proterra is a pretty cool company too. There's a YouTube. I was just kind of looking up some YouTube videos about it after seeing this news. And have you seen Jay Leno's Garage, that show?
Yeah, I've seen a couple episodes.
He actually did a full hour episode in the Proterra factory. He got to drive the buses, and they have bus stations that. So imagine you had like a sunroof on a bus. Okay.
Sure.
But instead of a sunroof, that's a solar panel. They drive around and it's charged as they drive, and then they pull right up, and something like a claw looking thing comes down on the solar panel and charges the entire bus in like 5 minutes.
Dang.
So it's constantly running on zero emission. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that sounds like it could be a new frontier for mass transit. So
yeah, mainly on the West Coast right now, California. And,
yep.
So, yeah, something to look at, and I think it'll take off if they announce a SPAC they want to merge with.
Yeah, we'll keep everyone informed on that one. The next one was FMCI. We've spoke about that on numerous episodes. That's one of the favorite SPACs from Bryce and I. As a reminder, FMCI, I think if you go back to our second or third episode, we actually posted a lot about the fundamentals of their business. They are merged now with Tattooed Chef, TTCF. Tattooed Chef is in Target, it's in Costco, it's in Walmart, it's in Sam's Club. It's a plant-based, I guess, meal company. So they offer.
So good.
Huh?
So good.
I mean, we're kind of carnivores, but I've had some of their products. It's really good. We've spoke about. It's definitely tasty stuff. They have, I think, a more diversified offering in different spaces than like a Beyond Meat. But if you look at a valuation metric, they're still attractively valued relative to some of these other plant-based companies, and the merger went through successfully. So it's TTCF, and I think that's going to be a good one for the long term as you see kind of health and nutrition trends continue to shift more towards that.
And like you said, you mentioned Beyond Meat, and I think they are comparable. And Beyond Meat is trading at an incredible value. I mean, they're at what, one something high, 150.
Yeah, incredibly high multiple on earnings for Beyond Meat.
So I think Tattoo Chef getting in at 12, 13, 14, whatever you got in at, it's at 25-ish now. So even now, I think it's still a good time to get in. It's early, and they're only going to grow from here. So, they just got into Target this last week, or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was within the last month. We saw that news. So I think they'll continue to expand their footprint. So good one to keep an eye on.
For sure.
That's about all we had for the SPACs, but I know we have a lot of earnings in October. So Bryce, do you want to give us a rundown on some of the notables coming up?
Yeah, there's a lot of earnings coming up here. So Monday, we have IBM. Looking at you, Mike. I know you're watching. Tuesday, we have Procter & Gamble, Netflix, Snapchat. Wednesday, we have Abbott Labs, Tesla, Chipotle, Verizon, Discover, Winnebago. Winnebago's been a big one this summer with people kind of doing their own vacations, going camping with the family, staying away from people. Winnebago's been a good stock to have.
Yeah, that and camping.
Thursday, we have... Yeah, definitely. Thursday, we have Coca-Cola, AT&T, American Airlines, Southwest Airlines, Intel, Tractor Supply, and then Sam Adams. American Airlines and Southwest Airlines, I don't see the earnings being super good.
No.
But compared to maybe what they were in Q2, but as of last year, they're probably going to be down.
I think the market will react based on if the earnings are less poor than they're forecasting, because they're going to be tough.
Yep. And then Friday to end the week, we just have American Express. I think, Abbott Labs would be something interesting to look at. Procter & Gamble, all the healthcare stocks should be, it sounds like they're doing pretty well in the broad market overall. So I'd expect those to be pretty good. Any thoughts on any other ones?
I've really liked and gained more admiration for Chipotle through how they handled the pandemic. They have just incredible success with their mobile app, with people doing the mobile orders and picking up as opposed to the drive-through model. So that's a company that continues to innovate and has a incredibly loyal customer base. So I think that you're going to see some strength in Chipotle for their earnings as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked at what they're trading at recently. Do you have any idea?
I'm not sure, but yeah, pull it up.
I know that they're in the 300s last time I checked, which is, what? Is that right? 1,339 per share?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like 300.
What in the world?
That's a lot of burritos, though.
It was at 300. Wow. Maybe I was looking at something different.
You might have been,
1,300 per share?
You might have been thinking about Qdoba or something.
That could be. No wonder I don't have any of those.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
And I think for this quarter earnings they're going to announce, they had carne asada for most of the whole quarter, which that was a game changer.
Yeah, we both tested that out a few times, I know.
Yeah, they just brought it back again. So
yep. Oh yeah.
I've had a couple orders run through already.
That's pretty good. I don't blame you. Talk about some trades we made this last week.
Yeah, so obviously in lieu of the weekly update, we did our interview with Mike. So we didn't have any we announced here. However, we're expanding our social media presence, which the world is happy about. We have a TikTok, we have an Instagram. So we're posting. We're going to continue to post midweek trades that we find appealing on TikTok, and then we'll also share those on our Instagram, so you can get more real-time updates on what we find interesting. So one of the ones I posted, you should watch the TikTok. It was on FMCI, Tattooed Chef. So there was actually a really good premium to do a covered call strategy. So I think the strategy, these are rough numbers. Video will tell you what it is, but it gave you a potential to earn almost a 27% upside. I think your downside was capped around 12%. So when you look at a traditional risk reward, you have a 1-to-1. This trade scenario gave you a 2-to-1.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great way to do some hedging and to get some smart returns if you have confidence in a stock. And if it doesn't work out the way you think it will, those calls are going to provide you a really nice premium too.
For sure. I agree with that. And it was a good week for that one. And I think, if you have cash on the side, if you are nervous about the election, sell a put on FMCI. There's some good premium there too. And it's like we said, we expect it to just keep going up and up. And if you don't know what selling a put is, that's a bullish, what's the word?
Option strategy.
Feeling.
Yeah. Well, it's bullish sentiment behind the option.
Sentiment. There you go. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. So yeah, if you're bullish on a stock, sell a put on it if you have cash on the side, if you're a little nervous about being fully invested into the market. But going off that, we're actually selling puts on Nikola. I know we talked poorly about it in the past, but now that all that has kind of subsided, it's down to $19 a share. We don't see it going much lower than that, especially long term. If they can pull off what they're saying, I'm selling all the puts on Nikola.
Yeah.
And then also TNA. TNA is the small cap.
I know TNA. Oh, you're talking about an ETF.
I was confused for a second, but I got it. I got you. So TNA is a small cap bull, 3 times leverage ETF. Unreal premiums on that one. I like to sell puts on that one. There's usually it's roughly about $130, and I like to go weekly. You can go monthly, but it's a little harder to keep track of things if you go monthly, I think.
Yeah.
Little easier to get overwhelmed with what's going on, whereas week by week you can kind of take more control.
What are you looking to generate every week with your put sale on TNA?
Well, right now I'm just doing one contract, obviously worth 100 shares, and it was at $39 a share last time.
Okay.
So it's about $130 per contract.
Nice.
Per week.
Yeah.
So if you think about compounding, if you're selling 130 a week every week, that ends up being, check my math here, but is that like $6,000 a year?
Yeah, it's a significant amount of money as long as
as long as it stays consistent. And this one doesn't have a lot of deviation to it. It dropped a lot in March, just like everything, but since then it's been kind of riding up and down within $4 or $5. So it's pretty, you have some confidence with something like that.
Yeah.
And then with compounding, if you get your returns like that over a full year, you have enough money to buy 2 more contracts. So what, you're $390 per week if you're doing 3 contracts worth.
Yeah.
You do the math.
That's a rent payment.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what we need right now. That's all I'm looking for.
There you go.
So like we said, there wasn't much movement in the markets this week. Did you have a best or worst trade from the last week?
I think, and this is one that had no analysis for me on it. But Bryce and I remember were a part of a big group chat, like 260 people in WhatsApp, and one of the very intelligent individuals in the group told us about Vivo Power. So it's VVPR. I picked some up in Robinhood. I think I bought it October 6th. Within 4 days, it was up almost 80%.
That's crazy.
So that one was just honestly just a gamble for me, but that was definitely my best for the week. And I wasn't incredibly active in trading this last week, and it was pretty flat for me too. So I don't have
Shout
one.
out Nazir. If you're watching, Nazir,
Yeah.
shout out to you.
Yeah, you're the GOAT. I don't really have a worst one. Like I said, it was a pretty marginal week for me. So
likewise, the only trade I actually made was that put sale on TNA, and it expired worthless. So I got the premium, no questions asked. I got to keep the share, or I got to get my collateral back and move
you'll
on.
live to ride again.
Yep. So I'll do the same thing next week and keep going until I can buy more contracts and just keep multiplying it, because
There you go.
compounding it's the way to go for sure.
7th wonder of the world.
It is. Yeah, it is. So one other trade I want to talk about was Fubu last week.
Oh, so did you buy that last week?
I didn't.
Okay.
I wish I would have.
So you got your peepers on it for the week ahead?
I do. I'm looking at it for the week ahead. It was up 20 some percent, and then it fell back about 3 or 4%. So it ended total 17% up.
Okay.
So Fubu is it's a TV app. If you don't have cable, it's just another one of those apps, so you can just, download it onto your TV or whatever. And I don't know how much.
Oh, it's Fubo.
Fubo?
Yeah. Fubu was Damon John's company.
For us, by us?
Yes.
Wait, are you sure?
I'm incredibly positive.
You sound like you're.
I'll bet you next week's drink on it.
I think that was
Here comes the backtrack.
a tad. That was a Microsoft Word spell error.
Oh, okay.
Autocorrect.
Damn Bill Gates.
Fubo, that's right. Fubo.
I thought you were going to tell us how Fubu just got into J.C. Penney's and, it's going to overtake Tommy Hilfiger.
Don't forget about Macy's. Fubo TV. Yes, that's the one.
And if anyone that wants to, you can do a free week trial with Fubo, and they can use your email and credit card.
Yeah, I gave that to you one week when we were watching Red Zone.
Now I have Red Zone all year.
Ryan didn't have Red Zone on his TV, so we downloaded it on my email for some reason. So now
I'm leveraging logins.
You're just leveraging living in every way possible. I like it. I can't blame you.
No, you can't.
I handed you the keys. What else you got?
So I have one that I picked up, and this one's really speculative. So I'm typically, I'd consider it to be in like the penny stock stage. So highly
speculative.
Yeah, it can serve you well. I usually like there to be, some fundamentals and a lot of data into the companies I buy.
Sure.
But conceptually, I like the space. I think it's going to be, from what I've read, it's going to be a huge space. So the space in general I'm talking about is using psilocybin, which you might be familiar as a psychedelic. But using it.
If you've seen any Joe Rogan podcasts ever, you've heard of psilocybin.
He talks about it all the time. But there's some scientific components to it where it can be incredibly effective with helping with some certain mental health issues. So, which, that's a tremendous space and so many people affected. So there's a lot of trials that have already been done with psilocybin. The diseases that they're working on are major depressive disorders, anorexia, early Alzheimer's, alcohol use, cluster headaches, concussion headaches, using it to stop smoking, anxiety, Parkinson's, psychosis. So you definitely know a lot of people that have something that I just read. So incredibly widespread use cases. But most of these studies are early stage. Some are maybe phase 2. I don't think there's many phase 3s that are out there yet. So we're really early. Like I said, I like the space. The company is Mind Medicine, and the ticker is MMEDF. So I'll share with you one of the notable investors. It's one of the Shark Tank panelists, Kevin O'Leary. So he's in on this, and he's had in some of his content, he's talked about the future applications of psilocybin in treating some of these diseases. So he's obviously a very sharp investor. So if you want to check it out, MMEDF, I picked up a few $1,000s worth, and I'm going to sit on it for a while.
Is that, what market is that sold on?
I think it's over the counter right now.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you could still buy it, but it's definitely not going to be as liquid as some other companies. And
would somebody that just invests with Robinhood be able to buy that? They don't do OTC, I think.
That's a good question. It may not be available on Robinhood. I purchased it in Fidelity. That's one of the benefits of having a, I love Robinhood, but having one of the bigger brokerages is you get a little more latitude with what you can trade.
Yeah, I just looked it up and it's not there on Robinhood. So,
well, there goes all the millennials.
Shoot.
No,
I like what you just brought up. That's a very interesting space, and Elon Musk is actually doing work with that too, with Neuralink.
Oh,
so that'll be an interesting thing to look forward to.
Yeah, can be one of the next frontiers in medicine, and that the psilocybin itself has been used recreationally or even I think some people do use it for maybe medicinal purposes that haven't been studied. But I mean, that goes back to the beginning of humanity almost.
Yeah. And like you said, it's unfortunate, but a lot of people are going through those issues that you listed. And if it is something that'll help in a medicinal way, that's awesome. And I hope they keep studying it. That's really cool.
Yeah. The other one I have, which I think I'm pretty excited about this trade. It's on Switchback Energy. So Switchback Energy, once again, is the SPAC that's merging with ChargePoint. ChargePoint, which we've highlighted on a prior episode, is the largest and oldest electric vehicle charging station company. So they're high revenue producing company. They're really well established already. Wonderful foothold in the market. And you see what's happening in the automotive space where EVs are just blowing up. And they're merging with all these SPACs, and there's new technology. So you can tell that this is the next frontier for automotive is to plug in.
Yes.
Currently, I think electric vehicles only account for about 2.6% of gross auto sales. So yeah,
EVs are where you want to be in the next 5-10 years. And that's, I don't want to say it's a fact, but
yeah, it's very likely. And we're still in the really early stages. So I like the thought of, instead of picking, putting all your chips in on a specific auto company, this is something that charges all of them. So
it's one thing I wanted to note on this. I woke up to a text in our group. I think it was early this week at about 4 or 5 in the morning from you.
Right.
Hey, does ChargePoint charge Teslas? And about 2 hours later, around 6, I had an article saying that indeed, yeah, ChargePoint does charge Teslas. So we loaded up on the puts, because Tesla is going to be a major player, obviously, in the EV market.
I didn't know if Tesla was like, I don't know much about owning an electric vehicle. So I didn't know if Tesla is like Apple, where they have a specific charger and it's not universal. So yeah, sometimes when you can get your best research done at 3 or 4 in the morning if you wake up early and get started. So
live your morning like it's a Monday.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the trade, and I'll put it on TikTok too, so someone can, you can follow the steps a little more if you're not incredibly familiar with options. But so my sentiment on the company is neutral to bullish, which is what you can accomplish with selling put options. So I sold the February 2021 $15 strike puts. I received $3.84 in premium. I think the stock is currently trading at, do you have Robinhood open? I can pull it up quick.
I think
it's trading just over 15 right now, if I recall correctly.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it's $15.40 is where it closed on Friday. So I sold 10 contracts for the $15 strike February 2021, $3.84 a contract. So that provided me a $3,840 in premium for selling those puts. So my obligation would be, or essentially what I'd be responsible for would be, since I sold the right to somebody as a put option for them to sell at a certain price. This price is 15. Since I'm the seller, I'm the person who may have to buy. So if the stock, let me just do some quick math here. My break-even point is about $11.16 a share. So as long as Switchback Energy can stay above $11.16 a share, which is really close to its par value, the trust value of the SPAC, I receive $3,840. If it falls below that,
oh, sorry.
Then I buy $15,000 worth of Switchback Energy, and I'm smiling ear to ear to get that much of that company at that price.
Right.
So this is a win-win.
Yeah, when you're selling a put, you're bullish. So obviously, if you get assigned the shares, you're happy about it because you got it at a price that you wanted to pay.
Yeah, I would love to own 15,000, and I already own thousands of dollars worth of this, so I'd love to own 15,000 more.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
At $11.
Did it give you a chance of profit for that trade?
I did that in Fidelity, so it doesn't have the same likelihood of profit as Robinhood does.
Okay, gotcha.
But since I did it, I'm guessing 99. Sometimes the computer models can't keep up with old trusty here.
The old hardware.
Yep.
All right. So
that invented computers, by the way.
Wow. And named itself.
Well,
think about that.
If we had some psilocybin, we would really be going into the concept.
Yeah, I've never messed around with that.
I haven't either, but
I hope to never have to either. But it's like I said, it's cool.
I'd have to discover yourself one day.
Wait, have you done it?
No, I haven't.
About it? No. All right, so I think that wraps up our weekly update for what week was this? October 10th through the, what's the date today?
It's the 17th.
6th. Oh yeah, it is the 17th. So the 11th through the 16th. Send us a topic you think we should cover in next week's episode. Put a comment down below. Send us an email, leveragelivingpodcast@gmail.com. And then let us know what your general investing criteria is. What do you look at before you hit the buy button? We're curious to know. We'll talk about the best ones next time. What do you think?
I had one other thing to bring up in closing, and that would be one of our next interview guests. So we've received great feedback from our interview with Mike. Mike talked a lot about real estate and stocks. And Leverage Living Podcast, it's not exclusive to stocks or SPACs. We're talking about everything leverage. So real estate's obviously one of the best examples of using leverage. So we have a guest. His name is Sam Jellberg, and he might be joining us within the next few weeks. So he's currently the Director of Investments and Acquisitions at Sterling Real Estate Investment Trust, which is one of the biggest real estate investment trusts in the state of North Dakota. So in addition to that, Sam is a CFA candidate. So he knows his numbers, wealth of knowledge, sharp young lad, and we'll have him on for our next interview.
That's awesome. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, it'll be fun to learn from him.
All right, Ryan, let's sign off for this week.
Okay. Have a good evening. Cheers.